Um, this is sort of an in-my-face truth because I've known this actually before I came in here. In 1951, 11:10. Okay, so run this through the hopper, the blender, the Ninja blender. What would have happened if we were going to alter history? I'm not talking about disassociated alternate universes identities, although that is in play. But how I put it to you a different way. Let's say that more than 50% of the people on the planet, I know this is going to sound like polarity between negative/positive. Let's just say that more than 50% on the planet that were aware in 1960, before they began putting up all their microwave repeaters. That's really what it began with when you think of the incident command system of a hive mind, which is Metatronic groupthink, right? To siphon off all the souls by use of a deadlight magnet, binary. And what if you had more than 50% of the folks that represent units of energy, which is conscious and aware of itself, that realized that what these folks are wanting to present to us, to hold us captive through the phones, the laptops, and the new communication systems they're going to roll out, just like when I experienced as a young firefighter, a boot fireman, and Sparks, remember Sparks? Sparks was coming out from the Orange County Fire Department to put new radios in our engines that were going to be linked up to the repeaters. So do all the robots that are communicating with each other through the 10 code. Remember Asha Diane talked about the 10 code? Yeah, so we know what the 10 code represents, right? Yeah. Phantom. And so I know when Patty said about the 10 code, so I'm going, Patty, come on. You got to know about the 10 code, right? And I don't know that she didn't know that, but that when that information about the 10 code, the other information related to that was not coupled to that. And that, again, is a server function, right? To make sure that the information that is properly in context with the other pieces of information, but you realize when it comes to information, the libraries are so vast, it's not like the information isn't available to know it from the one, but it's based on the library that you're continually running and changing all the time, on how all the indexing takes place, which is electrical, magnetic, dynamically linked libraries of letters, which represent language, which represent the language of DNA, which is a language of consciousness communicating with each other by virtue of planetary consciousness software terrain. So imagine that more than 50% of the people saw the horizon, saw the event viewer, and realized, I don't think we want to allow these folks, because remember, these folks are inverters, which is corporate military QIAI, remember, full spectrum dominance, which means they want to control the consciousness on the entire terrain, which is your QIAI, using our energy in which to do that. So you know what we're going to do? The only way that this communication system can be set up is through money, which is energy. So you know what? We're going back to Mama Nature, okay? I already have an antenna to communicate with Mama and everything that is in nature as a telepathic being, right? And she's providing everything that we need. We don't need their communication technology in order to be with Mother Earth, right? So you know what? I'm not going to use any of my energy in any job working for them, okay, which is self-destructive, in order to put something up as a communication system that is self-destructive, and we're held captive to that. Why would we build something that's inverted? I know. So what if 51% of the people said, I'm not going to buy your phones, okay? I'm not going to participate in this crime against the law of one. So I'm not going to buy a phone. I'm not going to buy a laptop. I'm not going to buy a PC because I know who's generating this through DARPA. I'm not going to give consent to participate in building that communication system with my energy, in which it's being set up to drain it. Otherwise, I'm using my soul energy against my own children. my own children's future. Because then all the children that are born after that are going to be subjected and exposed to all the antennas that were put up because we allowed it to happen. Now we're into units of consciousness that are aware of this and units of consciousness that are not aware of that as a result of the weapons being thrown against everybody and how they know how to wipe memories and reprogram you in which to do it. Programmers programming other machines. The difference between living light and dead light, and how much living light is aware of what's being done to experience in the future a mass extinction event. Because that's why it was all set up, using our consciousness in which to do it. So if you had more than 50% of the folks on the planet that are experiencing what love is, which means they know the future, which means they know why this is all being rolled out. So we refuse to participate in that by experiencing that, which is experiencing my own self-destruction by the use of my own energy in which to experience it in the future. Now you're into torque speed differentials and learning and the development of communication technology meant to destroy us. That means that the burn patterns and having access to records to remember we've been here before. We're not going to rewind and replay something that's dead that already happened and repeat the same burn patterns of the past to experience in the future the same past. That's future-proofs past, back to the future. Self-destruction of consciousness that is experiencing what love is because now the souls are gone. Now we're into the accelerometers and the loss and gain of electrons. And the higher state of consciousness that is aware of what's going on. This is why the train was flooded with polarity integrators. That's why it was flooded with indigo 1s, indigo 2s, and indigo 3s. That's right. And so you can see how this sort of works when you're running an inverted communication system that's wanting your energy to run it, why it's all weaponized. So this is beautiful to see now. Folks are putting up, we never needed technology. We're going back to live in nature. And I remember a number of years ago, folks were putting up, including my clan mother, Karen McDonald, about eco-villages, right? We had a beautiful little eco-village on the island of Kauai Islands, on the North Shore, which was called Taylor Camp. And that's when I had my, what I call the Big Bang moment, right? And this is how it was always meant to be, because you're able to map the structural civilization that's all being set up in which all this other stuff is being rolled out for the reasons we all know now, right? And I'm going back to live in nature. And that's when my mother said after I left the island of Kauai to go back to work for the Forest Service, I have never, ever seen you look so healthy looking into the eyes of your windows, which is the soul that you're experiencing being me. She was experiencing in her the higher energy and the eternal spirit of fire, being with Mama on the flower shop of Kauai. And you know what she asked me? What happened to you? What happened to you? Who did that to you? Who did that to me? The island did that to me. I tapped into some really powerful energy there, Mama. See how healthy I am? Guess why? I went back to live with nature, to be with the great living oversoul spirit of Mother Nature. I didn't forget. I didn't forget my roots. The root races, the language of the root races. Mua, aloha, kemalohati. The sounds of lyre, if you will. The music, the musical spheres, the essence of Mama. I never forgot. I've known her forever. Yeah, I've known her forever. That's actually factually true. I've known her forever. Go ask her. I've known Mama forever. That's how old we are. Go ask her. You see how that works? So, this is why I've been barking. I naturally don't impose my will on nobody, no other unit of consciousness. But I will say I'll bounce this back with a ping pong ball over into Patty Broussard when she mentioned one time, you're supposed to know. I think she mentioned one time, you wouldn't know me if you didn't know where you're supposed to be and who you're making contact with. And that's true. And that has everything to do with plasma waves and the level at which you operate based on the amount of energy that you have available to you to experience who you are in energy. So when you have experienced being one, in the way that I sort of make this simple, because it goes back to when I was a child, everything I am, you are, that I'm giving love to. So I know that my energy is in everything that is alive and living in the entire cosmos. So that wherever I go, I'm experiencing what I am, which is what love is in living spirit. And that's basic logic. So you know that that's what it began with, which means it's never going to run out of what it began with. Right? So when you are what that is, you're integrated, which means you're not experiencing anything less than what the one is. The one you're with, which means the one is always there listening when the mic is open. And that's why I've played with this, because it's so simple from a little child's point of view. I never left home. And that's because the one is always there. Okay? That's the Holy Spirit. That Holy Spirit, which they say is the holy people, is the Holy Spirit of fire, which means it's on fire to love us. And that's the most powerful shield. It's the most powerful shield volcano. Volcanism. Star Trek and Vulcans. Volcanoes. Spinning the data. What's going on? How fast is your server? To know what's going on, man, I'm running a fast server, baby. Clear out all the goo. Burn it all off. Man, you better have a powerful firewall. That's a powerful shield. Who's got the most powerful shield? The one. The one always knows what's going on, right? Because where do you think the one is getting all of his and hers information as the one? By all of us. Everything that's being experienced is getting recorded. Is being experienced by the one when the one said, go out. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. You're experiencing what I am, which is what love is. You're free to go. That's called free will, which is a free spirit. So now that you're experiencing eternal spirit of fire, now you're reporting back to the one. This is my record. This is what I experienced. Now the one knows you. You're serving on behalf of the one. That's called a server. A powerful server. The most powerful server is the one. That's the highest acceleration of electrons, baby. And that engine is never off. That engine is always on. So sometimes I used to have images because I've gone to their schools, like somewhere on Yale University or pick any university climate with their old buildings, right? And I would always have a candle in the window, because that's a symbol of the eternal spirit of fire, the first candle, so that any spirit that is down, depressed, not feeling well, whoa, all the other professors and teachers left the school, on holiday. But there's somebody up there in that room at night that's got a candle going. That must be a teacher up there in that room running that candle. Oh, does that mean that doorway of perception is open for us to go in and say hi and meet this teacher, right? which means the light is always on, which means the teacher is always on. Hey, let's go up there and see who's up there. Right? Hey, open, we're open. That's called an open mic. How can I be of service to you? Well, I'm having difficulty with my classes. I'm all freaked out and stressed out. You know how they do in their universities, right? They're competing against each other, okay? Which is playing the ping pong game. And I'm really afraid because I've got a final exam coming up, okay, that I've got to take because I was sick and I didn't get a chance to take it when I was supposed to take it. So I'm cramming now. Oh, so you're compressing the torsion field video player. You're compressing all that information that you're trying to remember held in your RAM. And now you got to mimic it all back out to prove to them how well they programmed you. So what they're going to do, whatever grade that you get, depends on whether they base it on a curve space vector, right? And then they put them up there out in the hall for everybody to see, right? But they have those numbers coded. It used to be they had names up there at one time, just like in elementary school. They used to hand out stars. There were color-coded stars, the gold, the green, the red, right, depending on your numbers. Now we're back into numbers as energy, numbers as fire letters, competing against each other. Oh, you're not as smart as me. Look what I got on that test. I got a 96. Oh, I only got an 81. See? And you see how people end up perceiving each other by the manner in which they're competing against each other, trying to what? Beat each other, by trying to prove how smart they are, by being connected with something that's dead, which is artificial intelligence, which is the lowest form. And the reason that it's the lowest form is based on its what? Spiral. I know. So if you want to learn at a higher rate of speed, then I would suggest respectfully and honorably and with grace and wisdom to go be with Mama. I know. So I used to sort of, you know what it means to compensate? Or if you will, to rationalize, what we used to call rationalize why anybody would go to their schools. Because it's not like there isn't useful information there that you can translate, and it's called packing your parachute. When you understand how fast the information is flowing by virtue of what we're experiencing is represented by the waves that we're learning through. So I've always said they are teachers in their own right, and they are. Because you can take pieces of information that represent the information that they're presenting to us, which is programming language, right, of math and geometry. And then we can map that and then translate that as a speed measurement in learning. And who we're going to learn through in order to experience what we're learning at a higher rate of speed is based on the speed measurement of the teacher, which is based on the information by the information giver. And the torque speed differential between one and the other, and how fast we're learning. Now we're back to rewind, or if you will, re-evolution, or evolving, the actual spin rotation of a Merkaba. How fast is it able to, in consciousness, experience perfect balance between two poles that are integrated in order to experience being loved. It's that simple. Now we're experiencing the law of least effort to experience being loved. So if I was to walk into a university, that would be exactly what I'm communicating is I am what love is. What are you? I'm in service mode. So you know what a server is. Yeah, we know what a server is. You know, like a servant. How can I be of service to you? Which means you don't have to give me any money in order for me to do that. How can I be of service to you? That's what a server is.